So for those of you who've stayed longer in marriage, here are the issues I want us to discuss. Number one in the list is infidelity. And the reason I want us to start with that, all marriages, not some, all marriages are tested on this at some point. The idea of infidelity almost always crops up in a marriage at some point or the other. You could find someone else extremely interesting, or you may find yourself constantly trying to cheat, either for the excitement or in the hope of satisfying your urges. What matters here is figuring out whether the juice is worth the squeeze. You could have gotten married without ever tasting the juice, and you still can fall in the trap of affairs. The simple deal is this: there is only one way to avoid getting into this trap. Be an open epistle, be an open book, period. What do I mean by that? Let your wife, let your husband know where you are with who. You are one. He, she has a right into your privacy at any given moment. I'll repeat that. Disclose where you are, what you're doing. If you disclose your time and you disclose your money, if you disclose your time and disclose your money, you'll never have these issues we are discussing. Your money and how you spend reveals where your heart is. Your time reveals where your heart is. Only these two things reveal who you really are. Let your wife know, if you're a man, that you're meeting so and so. Disclose the agenda. Marriage was supposed to protect you from infidelity. Unfortunately, marriage has also become a source of infidelity. Sleeping with your secretary, sleeping with the guy who delivers grocery at home, sleeping with your gardener, visiting the red districts is too cheap a standard, is too low a standard. Sleeping with your colleague at work, sleeping with your neighbor, sleeping with a family friend is foolish and intolerable. Granted, we can't change our past. There's nothing we can do about it. But we can change our present and our future. Pacify your animalistic instincts by focusing on our human values. Tame your wild passions by focusing on a higher standard. You are created for a higher ideal. Be a promise keeper. Otherwise, the Bible wouldn't say free sexual immorality. Any command is based on a choice. You have no choice over feelings. That's why I said we cannot condemn feelings, whether you're feeling hot or cold. But where there's a command, then there's a choice. If there's a command, there's a choice, a human choice. Number two, emotional affairs. Of course, emotional affairs, I mean you literally haven't gone to bed together, but you're flirting on phone, especially these days on social media. Emotional affairs are the easiest to fall into, and at most times, you may not even realize it. Do you feel really comfortable with an opposite sex colleague at your workplace? And do you feel like this person really understands you and gives you the perfect advice for all your doubts? Or do you really feel happy and refreshed every time you have a long conversation with this friend of the opposite sex? The simple rule is this: if there is any text that you don't want your wife to see, you do not want your husband to see, then it's already an emotional affair, period. It doesn't matter how innocent it sounds to you. That's an affair. Because there must never be secrets between the two of you. Number three, differences in sexual interests. As relationships grow, the sexual excitement and the arousal too start to change. You see the same naked person every night. You know, initially, when she coughed, you turned your head. You watched her wear a tight dress, and she moved you. But now you have seen the naked body far too many days in a row. And you're wondering what next. And that's the reason why the single girls in our midst, you must continually hide that stuff. Because once you disclose everything, he has nothing else to hunt for. Men are created to hunt. When they have nothing to hunt, you'll be left all alone. Sex plays a pretty important part in a successful marriage. Work on it and get better at it. Nothing happens, everything is caused to happen. Things don't just happen. You can spice up your relationship once more by working on each other. Look for opportunities to go out together. Make it as a rule. Every week we are going to go out for dinner together. Every single quarter we may go for bush drives. For example, in Sense 11 Life Club, we take people for cruises. So we are taking people from Singapore to Thailand last month. This August we'll be taking them from Southampton in England all the way to Italy and back. Next year we'll be doing another one from Naples in Italy all the way to Barcelona in Spain. If you'd like to participate, please, we normally pay one year in advance. And why do we do these things? The average person from central Kenya, every time you get money, kaplot. So after you have 200 acres, 2,000 acres, so what next? You survive through this life looking for kaplot. Look for ways and means to spice up your relationship. And one way is to relate with like-minded people, people who are progressive, people who are in love. The fourth reason why marriages can break when they're seasoned, your spouse doesn't excite you anymore. In my notes I wrote, this can happen to spouses who are not fascinated or awed by their partners. It isn't just about sexual interests. You may like your spouse as a friend, but there's no passion when you're with each other. Both of you just live together. You lead two separate lives, although you're in the same house, and have become good friends. You're just reporting issues. A lot of couples, their communication is about issues. They report how their day was, not on one another. They don't compliment each other. They are just reporting how their day was. You become two wheels of a cart, a roller coaster. You're just business partners, but you're no longer love partners and life partners. Why do these relationships collapse? Number 5, money. Money always has a way of making life better or making life worse. There are only two extremes and no middle ground with money. Are you dissatisfied with your spouse's earnings or monetary investment? This may start off as a nagging thought to begin with, but unless you discuss this with your spouse, you could be heading down the road of divorce over time. It is almost impossible for two people to be earning the same money. God's view of marriage, there is no your money and my money. It is our money. There is no your mother and my mother-in-law. It is our mother. The two become one. Anything out of that is not marriage from God's perspective. You are two people living in one homestead. The Bible says we are joint heirs. What does that mean? Everything Jesus has is mine. Everything I have is his. There is no line. That's why when you are asked to tithe or give in church, the word used is the word pay. Pay tithe. Why? You don't have it in the first place. It's not yours. It belongs to Christ. But I also have good news for you. He doesn't have anything. It belongs to you. When he went on that cross, he exchanged our poverty for the riches of Abraham. So everything he has is mine, and everything I have is his. That's why Abraham sacrificed his only son. Why? He didn't have him in the first place. Abraham reasoned, I didn't have the boy in the first place. The boy belongs to God. If God tells me to give him anything, I will, because it's not mine. That's the church. That between Christ and the church, there is no 50-50. That's the worldly mathematics and economics. God's economics is 100%. So long as you're emotionally attached to money, your marriage is still at risk. Money has become a devil. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. Of all things that Jesus would have compared that compete with God, he only picked one: money. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve Mammoth, the god of money, and serve God. And the only way to show God that you don't worship money is giving. That's the only way to show you are delivered from the god of Mammoth. And not just giving in church, even in your family. When you don't hold money emotionally. Where a car can have an accident and you sleep like a baby. Now, number 6, relationships can part because of having abusive or controlling relationships. If you have ever felt like your partner is trying to control you or to abuse you in some manner, it is best to have a conversation about it. At times, your spouse may not even realize that they are trying to manipulate you or to control you. And nobody wants to feel controlled, whether it's financially, whether it's career-wise, whether it's sexually. Manipulation, I called it earlier on witchcraft, and it was not a joke. So if you feel somebody does not want you to climb up the career ladder because they're insecure, discuss with them. Sometimes it's possible. You want to develop professionally, but your partner is not ready. Encourage them, motivate them, inspire them. But if they are not still ready, then please Request them to allow you for the good of the family and you pursuing your goals in life. Number 7, priorities change. They don't stay put. Things change. Changing seasons. Shifting tides. Sometimes you can find somebody who used to be very good in evangelism. 10 years later, their heart is no longer there. You can get married to someone, and after a year or two, the same things they valued, they become very relaxed. See, a marriage is a lifetime of togetherness. And as individuals, our priorities in life too change with time. If you want to have a successful marriage and avoid any reason for divorce, learn to understand each other's priorities. Don't expect your partner to stay the same way forever. Talk to each other and help each other become better individuals, and you learn to fall more and more in love with each other. Number 8 and the last one, addictions. Now, this may not necessarily be a major issue here. I know here we love the Lord, but sometimes addictions are not necessarily about cigarettes. It's not just about alcohol. Even sex can become addictive. There are people who have zero control. Addictions can come between two partners in a big way. Do you have any addictions that bother your spouse? Addictions may not affect relationships directly, but your dependence on the addictions and the way it affects your life may affect your marriage. But I may want to ask you, looking at these 8 items, together with your partner, which area do you think you need to work on? For some of you, you only need to work on 1 item. For some of you, you need to work to 2 or 3, or even more. But it's possible there's someone listening to me here, and they need to work on the entire list. Now, every love will be tested, and love is tested by the great D. Every marriage is tested by the great D. What is the great D? This will test your marriage.